Good evening, good evening, good evening to everyone, and welcome to Under Construction. Thank you for joining in on this evening, on this Monday evening. Listen, if you're like me, it's kind of been a long day. It's Monday, we've had a lot going on, but just inhale, exhale, appreciate the air that God has given all of us today, and just relax, because that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to relax. We're going to chill a little bit. That's why I love the music I chose, because the music kind of gets us into a little groove. It just kind of, music relaxes you. I don't know about you, but I love music. All kinds of genres of music, to be honest with you. I can listen to, of course, gospel. I can listen to some nice R&B. Yeah, I like old school, and I'm a jazz lover as well too. So music, just kind of does the soul some good. I tell people all the time, I have them laughing. When I'm in my serious mode, I'll put me some gospel on, get my spirit ready. But when I need to chill and relax, oh, you can best believe I'm throwing me some nice jazz on, something to chill with a little bit. So again, hope you guys have had a great day. Thank you for taking out of the time to just kind of join in with me tonight. It's going to be a great evening. We've got a great guest with us tonight. We'll bring her in shortly. But really, this is just kind of a spinoff of what we've been talking about a little bit over the last several months, which has been pretty much effective communication. If you recall, and if you've been able to be a part of it, you were on with me the other month when we had my daughter on. We were talking about effective communication, and we was on with Dr. Andrea Hines with that one. And then before then, we had my son on, and we were still talking about effective communication and what that really looks like, what that means, and how do we effectively communicate with one another. And so we're going to kind of spin off of that a little bit this evening tonight. We're going to talk about what that looks like in friendship and in relationships, because we still have to have that effective communication even with that. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be awesome. So tell somebody about it to join in. Make sure that they join in. And this is for all of us. All of us can do better in our communication as far as that's concerned. We're changing seasons right now. I remember my bishop talking about that the other month, about a time in a season, and we're in different seasons. We're coming out of one season, we're going into the next. One thing I loved about that when he was ministering and sharing about that is I think Ecclesiastes 3:11 when he talked about and God makes all things beautiful in its time. I love that. That has so penetrated my heart, my spirit. I've been just really pondering on that over the last couple of months, and just to reiterate that to you, that God makes all things beautiful in its time. So even in relationships, even in things that we don't have to force relationships, I've come to learn that we don't have to force ourselves. It has to come. It has to flow. It's going to be natural. It's going to be real. It's got to be fluid. But otherwise, then is it what is it? Is it authentic? No. Sometimes we can make things happen instead of letting things happen. Well, that was pretty good right there. You don't have to make things happen all the time. Sometimes just let it happen. Now that doesn't mean we don't have to work towards some things because there are some things that we need to work toward as far as the relationships are concerned. Yeah, it's work. How about that? Relationships is work. Even with our children, and it's work. You know, with our spouses, it's work. With everyone, with our in the marketplace, it's work because we all have different personalities and things of that nature. So it takes on its own form, and so we have to be willing to give and take and to listen and learn and all those good things when it comes to effective communication. So that's what we're going to be dealing with tonight again, as far as pertaining to relationship and friendship. We're going to be talking about that. So without further ado, as they say, I want to bring this person in, this guest on with me tonight. Gosh, I have known her now probably over the last 30 years of my life. And it's good to have people in your life that knew you before, and you'll see what I'm talking about as we communicate a little further. But this woman of God, she knows me, outside of my wife, outside of my family, of course. She is probably one of the closest people next to me that really knows me, that loves me, that looks out for me, that prays for me. I can call, man. We can have these great conversations, and vice versa. So I want to bring her on in. So let's bring in. She is the executive pastor. We're talking about executive pastor Denise Dobbin. Welcome to the show tonight, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Sims. It is so good to be with you and your time of sharing. Hello, everybody.
Absolutely. I could say a lot. There's a lot we could talk about one another. I mean, we know each other in and out pretty well. I mean, I was just sharing with him, it's been some 30 years, I believe, that you and I have known each other. And I was sharing with them, it's good to have people in your life that know you. This woman of God know me before I became Pastor Sims. So she knows the Steve Sims. and vice versa, I know her, and because this great woman of God here was so influential in really just speaking over my life. She's got an old prophetic mantle on her, y'all. When I first met her, I don't know how old she was. I'm not gonna tell you age, but when I first met you some 30 years ago, I don't think you were in your 30s yet. You were mid-20s, somewhere around there. And even then, man, God was just all in her life. And here I was, man, I was running. I was like road runner. This thing was coming at me full speed ahead. I didn't want to be part of it. So I had my skates on, man, and I was rolling. And, when we first met, she just started to talk with me. We met through, of course, mutually at the church we were at the time. And her and my wife became great friends, which allowed she and I to become great friends. And we just, so she knows my story. So we're going to get into my story a little bit, but welcome to the show tonight. And her and her wonderful husband, Dick and Emery, are just great friends of mine. I love them dearly. They're family. When I say friends, man, this is family to me for sure. So I appreciate you just kind of taking out your time. She's retired, y'all, so she's got a little more time than I do anyway. I still haven't got over that yet, as you can tell. I'm still struggling.
I promise you, we can pray tonight so you can come into your deliverance anytime you want me to, okay?
Well, thank you so very much. But I invited her on because, and I shared with her what I wanted to talk about. We've been in this communication, this talk about effective communication and how we effectively communicate with one another, whether it's our children, whether it's our spouses, whether it's our co-workers, whomever it is. I think effective communication is key. So I asked my wife this question. We'll begin with this. I asked my wife this question. If I call you Elder Denise, I'm used to saying that, so I might say that. But the question was, are friendship built out of relationship, or are relationships built out of friendship? So again, the question is, are friendships built out of relationship, or are relationships built out of friendship? I'm gonna let you tackle that for a moment and see what your response is.
I kind of think, Pastor Sims, that one sort of reflects the other.
Okay.
Because sometimes the friendship is built out of a relationship. And then sometimes it's vice versa. I think there are times in the journey of a friendship that it can go vice versa. Okay. It's just like, when you're in a marriage, there's sometimes that you're at 100%, and your mate may be at 0.
Good.
There's sometimes you may be at 80%, and they're at 20%.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Then it flips sometimes that, the other person is that 50% or that 100%.
Right.
So I would have to say it's somewhat, it has ebbs and flows to it, if I can say that.
Yeah, I like that. And that's cool. That's cool. As I was pondering on it, I was saying this, and I don't think there's any wrong answer to this, because even when I looked up if you get a chance to really look up the definition of friendship and relationship, I mean, man, they are so right there together. So if I would have to make a guess, this would be my probably choice in the matter. And again, I don't think there's no right or wrong here, but I think, and me and the elder kind of discussed it just briefly. I think relationships are developed first, and then I think friendship comes out of relationship, because you have in a relationship, there has to begin to start with trust, and you get to know one another in relationship. You get to kind of know the person, and really even to determine whether this person can come into your sphere or not, your sphere or your circle or not, as far as a friendship is concerned. Why did I ask that question? I asked that question because when I look over our life and the 30 some years that we've known each other, I think it started that way. I think it started as a relationship of getting to know you and you getting to know us, but it really developed very quickly. I think there was a koinonia in the spirit that connected us very quickly, and we became friends very quickly. I mean, to the point where, we were prayer partners. So this woman, you guys had paired with my wife, and they were praying for God to just stop me from running, and Lord, save this man and get this man. And they didn't know that you love him. You're just trying to call him. That's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to get a yes out of him. In that, we just developed such a tight bond that has lasted over 30 years.
Yes.
And in that, so what do you think is the factor in a friendship that lasts and that endures this kind of a time frame?
I think what the factor is, there's not a reason.
Right. I got you.
Okay. When you're a friend to somebody, it's not conditional on a reason why I'm in your life. Right. I'm in your life because of the fact that you may need me at any given moment.
Sure.
Amen. So when we look at friendships, it's that saying somebody's in your life for a reason or season or a lifetime.
Cool.
And a friendship is a lifetime.
Yes.
What I love about our friendship, Pastor Sims, is we've been knowing each other for over 30 years. And when I find a friend, I can't ever remember how long we've been friends.
Right.
Because of the fact that we're so tied together. You really can't put a number on how long we've been together, but we know that we've been together. And see, that's when you know it's a God connection, when God lets you forget the time when we met. You can say, I don't know how long it's been, but all I know is that person has been in my life. They have gone through some things with me. They have gotten me through some things. They have prayed me through some things. And when I look at our friendship together, that's exactly what it is. We don't talk to each other every day, but we're still connected.
Absolutely. And I like that. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Unconditional. Friendship should be unconditional. But there are some words, excuse me, that friendship is built out of.
Yes.
And I think it's built out of loyalty. It's built out of trust. It's built out of honesty. And it's built out of integrity. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And even though it's unconditional, I think sometimes we do have to find out what are we bringing to the equation, though. And it's kind of like, like you said about a marriage. Sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 80, sometimes, but it's balanced out by the relationship. It balances itself out, because if it doesn't balance itself out, at some point it will become estranged. Meaning that somebody's going to be running on empty while somebody's on full, right? In our relationship with you, your husband, my wife, like I said, we don't talk all the time, but it's kind of like there's a sense of when you need me, or there's a sense of when I need you. And so, there's my niece there. Good evening, Jasmine. Hey, darling, welcome. So good to have you on with me. And Jasmine is a prime example of a relationship. So this is a niece of mine, right? And she's an adult niece. But man, we have such a wonderful relationship, because we, even over the years, we've developed a friendship, and it's developed out of trust. It's developed out of honesty, loyalty. She knows I can trust, she can trust me, and I can trust her. So that's what it's built out of. And when I think about a friend, Jesus calls us friends. We're friends of God, right? And so if that's the way that's going to be in the spiritual, how much more should it be in the natural realm with us? So let's just kind of go back and hit rewind again. And so what connected us? What do you recall that really connected us, and and just brought us into this relationship that we're talking about? What was it?
Well, I think it was a couple of things. I remember when you all first joined the church, and God strategically plans everything.
Sure.
And exactly where we were sitting, you all were sitting, I believe it was either in front of me,
right,
or you were sitting behind me.
Right.
So I felt that was God's hand in it right then, starting, and he was planting the seeds then. Cool. And I think I heard Pastor Valerie sing, and I thought, oh my Lord, this woman is just so gifted. Yeah. And so at the time I was in the gospel choir, and I thought, we have got to get this anointed woman in this gospel choir. Right. So I think what God does is he uses like things that you are both interested in, and that's what draws you together. Right. Later on, after I led her to the choir, then I began to know you. And I was on the usher ministry, and I said, Pastor, this is before you were Pastor Steve.
Right, absolutely.
I said, Steve, you know what? We need some more ushers. Can you come on? So again, God was doing the drawing, and he was giving us like things to draw us together to do kingdom work. And that's how I think it happened with our relationship. And most of the people that I'm friends with. What do you all have in common? Yeah. Of course, we have God in common, because we love him.
Of course.
But what are those other things that he uses to draw you together and connect you?
I love that. And so I'm sure a lot of people are like, what? Pastor Sims was ushering? Absolutely. I was serving. That's what I was doing, right?
Yes.
I was serving, and at the time, it's amazing to see how God, orders our steps and leads us, because he has to be able to trust us with the least of things first. Yes. And I think that's what he was doing. He was saying, could he trust us with the least of things? The ushers, the male chorus, and the things that, the serving and all of those things, because there's no way you can lead without serving. No. And even now, too much is given, much is required. These titles don't mean nothing. My bishop talks about that all the time. If you can't serve, the greater the title, the greater of the service that we have to bring to the equation. That's all we are for them. We're just servants, man. And
Yes.
so that's what I saw about you. And I think that's what I loved about you, because I'm one of those watchmen. I watch everything that moves. If it
Yes.
moves, if it's moving, if it's functioning, I'm watching it. And
Yes.
so I used to watch how you would function and move and serve and do the things that you were called to do. And I'm like, okay, cool, interesting. This is what it's all about right here. And so, yeah, we begin to do that. Good evening, wonderful woman of God. Excuse me just for a moment. I've got to pause and give a shout out to the beautiful Pastor Valerie Sims. Welcome to the show, my dear. Thank you so much for support and support and support. And even with her being in here right now, it was funny because, like I said, you and her, unbeknownst to me at the time, and y'all little clique had gotten together and was really working on me, boy. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something. Like I said, if you knew me then, if you knew me some 30 years ago, you knew this. I didn't want no part of this. This was something I had no part. And it's funny because I was reared in it. I saw it, and so I saw the work that was involved. I saw the dedication that was involved. I saw the weight of it, and so I knew that what God was trying to call me into. I was kind of like Moses. I'm like, look, man, I don't have eloquent speech. I don't, blah, 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 blah. I was making so many excuses. Is what I was doing to prevent God from using me. I'm like, put that name back in there and find another name. But I thank you that you were so instrumental in just encouraging me. And I think in relationship and friendship, you were not beating me up. You were not forcing yourself. You were not just, you need to and you should. And no, you were giving these little subtle suggestions. And you began to tell me that how much God loved me. And you began to tell me that God said, you're going to be great. God said that you are this. And I'm like, what in the world is this woman talking about? Because it just wasn't. But, and I tell people all the time, even now, other people will see your greatness before you do.
Yes.
And because the majority of us cannot call ourselves.
No.
Definitely the calling comes from God. But but people will see things in you that will, and they will be able to say, I see this, or because it's a saying that I use as well too, is that you have to be before you become.
Yes.
So people will see you being, and then they will enhance what you're already doing so that you can continue to become what they see. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that in friendship. How did you know how to approach in our friendship and our relationship at the time to talk about some of the other aspects of my life that you were seeing? What made you, how did you navigate that? To make sure that you did it in a way that wouldn't annoy me, make me angry, make me agitated, or whatever.
Well, I think I have to take it from the playbook of Jesus.
Okay.
When Jesus was trying to draw people back to the Father, what did he do? He addressed what they were doing. Okay. You're a fisherman, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about fish first.
Gotcha.
Okay. You're a tax collector. Well, let me talk a little bit about money to you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what you're going to do is find that common ground.
Yeah.
That place where you can meet, just like when the Savior calls us, he finds that common, that safe space for us so he can commune with us and connect. Yeah. And then once you find that opens the door that you can come in and you can talk to people about other things. I think that is that is how you and I came to being. I think God used me as a catalyst to push you forward. Right. He knew that you needed that. Right. He knew that your wife needed that because God wanted to get you to a certain place. Right. So what he did was he gave me a lot of wisdom. He told me to do a lot of praying. Right. He told me to make sure I talked to you at his time and not my time, because if I did it, it would turn you away. Right. But the scriptures also tells us that iron sharpens iron.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
it sharpens iron. So at some point, we had to have connected. Like I said, God was strategically planning. And as we're talking tonight, I see it more and more now as I look back in the rearview mirror, how he was orchestrating our friendship all of the time. So, both of us could be doing kingdom work.
Absolutely. I love that. And you brought up something very interesting because he that wins souls is wise, right? And so that's what evangelism is really about. And I do that all the time. I do it now. Wherever I go, I'm looking for something that I can connect with. So if it's a man, I'm looking for something that I can connect with. Maybe he's got on a football jersey, a basketball jersey, something that I can connect with that will allow me now to have dialogue. And once you start the dialogue, then, and I think that's the way we have to approach it. And that's wisdom. And so I think that's what you did with me. You realized, like you said, that there was things. There was another great young man of God there by the name of Reverend Jeffries. You remember Reverend Jeffries?
I do.
And he did the same thing to a degree, because the first time I met him, now he was a senior spokesman. I'm talking about, just well beyond our years. And I recall him relocating maybe from Connecticut or wherever he was from. And we got to know him because I got an old soul in me anyway. So I was automatically attracted to him and his beautiful wife at the time. And I was automatically attracted to us because we, respect him, we loved him, and we honored who he was. I remember the first time, Elder Denise, that he called me, and he threw me completely off because he called my phone one day, and they call you Reverend Sims. Reverend Sims, how are you today? I'm like, fine, Reverend Jeffries, how you doing, sir? And he's like, man, I need your assistance. I'm like, cool. I'm thinking he needs something moved or whatever. He says, I was pondering on the scripture today, and I came across whatever it was. And he said, I just kind of got stumped a little bit. So I wanted to give you a call and see if you can shine some light. And I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, time out. Why is this seasoned general calling the novice that was in me at the time, asking me for anything? So it just baffled me. But I was obedient, and I gave him whatever I thought the answer was. And he's like, Reverend Sims, that's it. Thank you so very much. Am I allowed to call you if I have any more questions? And I'm still sitting here like, okay, wait a minute. But I'm like, but I see now, like you just said a minute ago, in retrospect, man, God was using him to build me.
Yes.
And to just build me and to make, and then, what else it did also is it built me to be prepared for the next time if he ever called, which told me, you better get in your word. You better know what you're talking about. You better study to show yourself approved. But in retrospect, I see the friendship and the relationship that him and I had, like you do, that was bridging the gap. I came across a great scripture today, and I'm gonna read it. And it was out of the Message Bible, Proverbs 17:17. And it says this, it says, a friend loves at all times.
Yes.
And a brother is born for adversity. Yes. So even in a friend loves at all times, even in adversity, friendship should not die. It should not go away. Adversity should bring friendship closer together. So a friend loves at all times. What does that mean to me? I'm going to ask you what that means to you in a minute. But what it means to me is that we can have, in our friendship, we should be able to confront one another. If I see you, hey, Nalo, if I see you, now that's a great niece there. But, it's a lot of us. Nalo, welcome. If it's I should be able to confront you and say, hey, I'm noticing something or I'm seeing something. What's up with that? And we've had that. We've had that in our relationship over these last 30 years where I've been able to say, or you've been able to come to me. And, and you got to know, Elder Denise, she's like, now, Brother Steve, I was led to call you because A, B, C, D. And I love that about you because you ease into it. You're not hard. You're not that, confrontational, hard. You just come in the spirit of the Lord. Now, Brother Steve, I need to know what's going on in you. Why are you choosing this, blah, 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 blah. So if we are born that, if that's what a friend is and we're built for adversity, do you have a lot of friends that are like that? Do you have a lot of friends in your circle that this scripture fits? And how does it fit into our relationship?
Well, I would say, I'm going to say it like this. I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends that fit into that category.
Right.
And I say that because I truly believe that there are certain people that are God connected to you.
Right.
And those people are in your life, as you said, to encourage you, to build you, to help push you into the next place that God wants you to be. And I don't know that everybody can do that for me.
Okay.
I think God handpicks those people to do that for me. I'm very careful how I pray and ask the Lord, always lead me to the right people. That's for me.
Sure, no doubt.
That's for me. Because everybody isn't for you.
True.
And again, a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Absolutely. And go ahead, please finish.
And I think you can be so God connected. That's why, you and I get those promptings that we know when something is not right with the other.
Right.
We're so God connected, in our spirits, we can feel it. And then that's when we call each other. Well, you know what? I just want to check on you, or, Pastor C's, whatever. So I think that's another layer of friendship.
Sure.
Of friendship, just knowing, and I know that's God, just knowing, and I love the fact that I can come to you anytime, no matter what. And you're open, you're responsive. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the comment here is that she will absolutely pull you to the side to check for Miss Kayla Lewis, and you're absolutely right. And we ought to be able to do that. This is what the Message Bible said about Proverbs 17:17. It says, "Friends love through all kinds of weather, and families stick together in all kinds of trouble." So no matter what it is, if you're really my friend, you can walk with me even through my rough seasons. Because all of us have rough seasons. We all have rough situations and circumstances that we go through from time to time. And so if I call you and I just say, hey, I just need an ear. I've got this situation going on. Kind of give me some feedback on it. And that's how we talk. You'll do the same thing. You'll call me and, Brother Steve, I need to run something by you. Let me run this by you. And it's kind of like we were talking about, we actually absolutely need more women of God like that, Jasmine. You're absolutely correct. That's why you're in my corner. She's in my corner. And so, but yeah, we got to be able to make sure that and as I was talking to my children, when I was talking with them about the effective communication, I had them on the show. A lot of times we want people to give us the answer. But in certain friendships, I don't need necessarily the answers or to say, if I was you, no, but you give me tools and you give me scenarios and situations so that I can make good decisions from that. And that's what I love about our relationship. I never tell you, hey, if it was me, Elder Denise, this is how I would do it. What did you do? That was crazy. Why would you do that? No. Hey, it's kind of like my bishop says again about certain things. There are certain things that we have to know that God has already factored in. He's already factored it in. So we just need somebody to give us a little nudge, a little push to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. Another great scripture that comes up to mind is 1 Thessalonians 5:11. And Paul tells us to speak encouragement to one another, to build up hope together in one another. Yes. So that's one of the things I think that we've always did. We've always built up encouragement. I know your family. I know your mom. I know your siblings. You've met some of my siblings. You know my family. and they are crazy, just like, everybody got crazy people in their family. Not you, Jasmine, not you, Lalo, none of y'all, but some of them other folks. Everybody got a baby in their family, and so even with that, we know how to confront one another. We know how to communicate with one another. So when you hear the word effective communication, what does that mean to you? What does an effective communication mean?
Well, I think when and if I could go back to this point real quick before I answer that, you were talking about sometimes when we talk to each other, most of the time people already know the answer.
True. Yeah, you're right.
What they are looking for is somebody to say it out loud to.
Wow, good stuff. That's good. That's good.
I really know, because I've already pondered, I worked it in my head, but I just need somebody so I can say it out loud to, so I can hear it.
Right.
So I can hear it.
That's good.
I think effective communication, you have to learn to be honest with people. I think about this all the time when we're trying to draw people to the kingdom. And you got to be honest with people. Don't act like you never had a life before you got your collar.
Right. Okay? Oh my goodness.
Because sometimes I got to meet you where you are.
Absolutely.
And can I be honest with you, Pastor Steve?
Yes, please.
Sometimes I don't feel like Reverend Dobbin. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Sometimes I just feel like Denise, and I want to use Denise's effective communication.
Absolutely.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
it. That's it.
So
that's good.
We have got to learn to meet people where they are and be transparent with people.
Right.
Okay. Right. I think when you and I talk, we're never judgmental about where we are, because we know all of us have a moment.
Absolutely.
And because we're so transparent with each other, if you call me and you have a moment, you know what? After we have that conversation, you are still Pastor Steve to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't hold judgment on one another.
Exactly. And we have to show, listen, I'm human right now.
Absolutely.
And I need to talk to you like a human being, not reverend, not pastor, not elder. I just need to be me. And after I do that, I need it to be all right with you. You're not going to look at me different.
No doubt. And that's where the trust and loyalty comes in. And again, Mara, I saw your comments, Mara, and I'm totally in agreement. Sometimes we need to we know the answer. Like you said, we just need to hear it. One of the things I think in relationship that we have to be careful of and mindful of, as you was talking, is thinking out loud. And what I mean about thinking out loud is we have to really ponder what we're getting ready to say before we say it. Because a lot of times in thinking out loud, we haven't digested it ourselves yet. And we just say it without processing what we're getting ready to say. And so I just wanted to add that little nugget, because when you said we already, we already know, we just need to hear it. And then, yes, sometimes we got to be careful what we say before we've digested it, to know if sometimes I may not be ready to handle the weight of that.
Yes.
Of what's being said. It's truth. It's truth, but it's weighty. It's weighty right now. And my emotional state of being might not be able to handle that right now. And that's what you're saying. There's times when, even with my wife, there's times when she wants Pastor Steve. There's times when she just wants Steve.
Yes.
And I can tell the difference in the two. Even in our conversation, you and I, there's times when you need me to be Steve, and then there's times when you need me to be Pastor Steve. There's time when we need to be spiritual in scripture, and then there's times when we just like, okay, I'm about ready to cut somebody. So let's just have real talk here before I go cut somebody, before I pull out my sword and become Peter and cut somebody's ear off. I need you to hear what's ailing me right now.
Exactly.
Even with my nieces and my great nieces that are on right now, I try to be the same with them. I try to make sure that they understand. Because I mean, couple of them thugs. They thugs. They thugs. They will cut you in a minute. So you have to be mindful of how you say and what you say, and not just throw off. And I think in relationships and friendships, we should be able to do that with one another and not just throw off on one thing off of one other. Let me see. Let me read this. So one thing about Mom, she listens to understand. It sets the tone for honest conversation. And that is so powerful and lets you to be you. You have to let the person be the person. So effective listening is very key here,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
in effective communication, effective listening is key.
Mm-hmm.
My bishop, and I have to keep referring to him because he's making some powerful statements. But when you come into the presence of someone that's carrying authority and carrying something you need, why would I come to you with and seeking advice if I already got the answers and I'm talking over you and not allowing you to give me the advice back?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we're good at. Is if you call me, Brother Steve, I need you to hear, the situation. I'm going to listen. I'm going to effectively listen, let you get it out of your spirit, and then I will respond to what I just heard.
Mm-hmm.
Versus sometimes being so off to just give a response when I haven't even heard all that you're trying to bring to the equation. So I think it's part of a beautiful relationship when we can hear effectively. That way
Yes.
it allows us to respond. And again, we have to factor in when we talk about friendship and relationship, you have to factor in the emotional state that the person is in, even as they're
Mm-hmm.
talking to us. When you call me, are we talking? I always factor it in. I'm factoring in your posture and
Mm-hmm.
whether the neck is popping and whether because all of that tells me the condition that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But again, only a friend would know that
Mm-hmm.
because of a relationship. If we weren't in relationship, the average person would not know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they might not be able to answer effectively because of that. Man, this is good. I'm running out of time already. So I'm going to throw one other thing out to another scripture that I want to throw real quick. Colossians 3:13. It says this. It says, bear with each other and forgive one another.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, bear with one another
Mm-hmm.
and forgive one another.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to gain understanding. Thank you, Nalo. Yes, when we listen to gain understanding. But so yeah, we have to bear each other, bear with each other. Bear with each other. Bear means to, we got to bear. Some things I might not want to hear. Some
Mm-hmm.
things I might not, but I have to bear with each other. And then we have to forgive. In friendships, there's going to be some times we step on each other's toes, right?
Yes.
But like you said, it's not intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I think in our relationship over the years, if we've never walked away without getting an understanding.
Yes.
I don't care what the relationship is. I don't think we've ever left each other's presence without having an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, that old folks will tell you, all that get an understanding that know what she meant, know what he meant. So how do we make sure? How do we, outside of the language that I've said, the terms loyalty, honesty, how do we keep friendships to last? How do we make this last?
Well, I like what Mara just said, that forgiving is not just for the other person, it's for you as well. And if we love somebody, we have to constantly walk in forgiveness.
Sure.
Can I tell you, that's part of our character as being a Christian. Now I know sometimes we say, well, you know what, I'll forgive them, but I'll never forget it. Well, I understand.
Yeah,
okay?
I do too.
I perfectly understand. They, a snake bit you. And so what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you don't get around the snake again.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, I perfectly understand that.
Yeah.
But you have to forgive them because we are all full of faults and frailties.
No doubt about it.
Can I tell you that? We are imperfect people that serve a perfect God.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good stuff.
And what we have to do is the same mercy and grace that God gives us, we have to pass it on to somebody else. I can say this now, as long as I have known Pastor Steve and Pastor Val, I don't ever remember us having a disagreement.
Not really.
Do you, Pastor Steve?
Not really. Not really.
I don't ever remember us having a disagreement. I think because I cherish their friendship so much and the people of God that they are, I love them so much. I work diligently at making sure that the way we start a conversation, that's the way we end a conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, that's what relationship and friendship is really all about. And like I said, this woman have known me. She knows my beginning. She knows that I didn't want to do this calling thing on my life. She saw me develop before my family saw me develop, because I relocated from my family. And so there was times when my family didn't see this part of me, but she saw this part of me. And you saw my initial sermon. You, as a matter of fact, you helped type my initial sermon.
I did.
Some 26 years ago or so. I remember that. Like, now that showed you our friendship.
Yes.
I trusted you with my word, right?
Yes.
And you put that together. And you helped me out. You were there front and center. Your sister was there front and center. Your mom was there front and center. Afterwards, we went out to dinner front and center. And I recall, as a friend, that even when you met your husband, I'm like, okay, I need to meet this man. Let me meet this brother. Okay, I want to. And when we met, I'm like, okay, brother, I want you to know, first of all, this is my buddy. This is my friend. So you take care of it. And now I love him. He is a fabulous, fantastic man. God put y'all together, no doubt about it. He is just an awesome man. And you guys just compliment each other so well. But I remember during those times in our relationship, I remember we was going to a picnic one time. This is way back. We were going to a picnic. And you chauffeured us. Me and Val got in the back seat, and we were just, and I trusted you with our life.
Yes.
But I also remember the time when we was having so much, because during that time we were having services that were just like crazy. And God had me in the middle of all these women, these God-fearing women. I'm the only man, and the power of God would hit. One of them would fall out, y'all. I'd pick up one, the next one would fall out. I'd pick up the other one. And I'm like, okay, God, what is going on? Why you got me in the middle of all these crazy women? But it was God just rearing me up that way. So we've got some stories. I'm running out of time. This has been good, but I'm running out of time. We're gonna probably have to do this again to kind of get fulfilled. But it was just like, thank you, Jazz. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that we need in these days and time. You can talk about you don't need a friend. I don't need nobody. That is so untrue. I think everybody needs somebody that it was Bill Withers that said everybody needs somebody to lean on. You better have somebody, man, that you can lean on, that can get you through these rough moments. Now, my baby, my wife, my queen is it. But even with her, and she trusts us. Yes. I trust. Emery trusts me. Because it's a friendship. I trust leaving my wife with you guys. Vice versa, because we're going to take good care of each other, and we've got nothing but the best for one another. This has been so rich. Thank you so much. I've been wanting to get this on with you for the longest, and this was just an opportunity for us to do so. But I think in our closing, as we prepare to close tonight, what would you like to leave with us tonight, Elder Denise, Pastor Denise, as far as relationship, friendship? What nugget that you would like to leave that you think is so valuable in relationship and friendship?
Well, it's just so many things. As I look at our relationship, I saw Jasmine comment about the Lord allowed you to relocate to elevate you. I think about your journey and how God took you away from family. And now he's constantly sending you back to save and encourage and uplift the family.
Absolutely.
If I could just make it personal right here, I love Pastor Steve. I love Pastor Val. And they have helped me through some dark places in my life. They've helped me through a child passing away, through breast cancer. They've helped me through parents. We've lost parents along the way. And I'm gonna try to keep going at this without getting too emotional, because I'll cry in a minute.
I understand.
But as I look at our friendship, there is no amount of money that you could pay me that I would trade our friendship for.
Ditto.
Because you guys mean the world to me. And every chance I get to tell you that I love you, I appreciate you guys. Listen, if you have somebody in your life and your relationship looks like what you see in us, hold them close to your heart.
Absolutely.
They are few and far between.
No
But,
doubt.
always remember that, God brought you together. And because of God bringing you together, he can do great things through you and with the two of you uniting together.
Absolutely. That's why, one can chase 1,000 and two can chase 10,000, because in the coming together that of unity, it puts it on steroids, man. And I'm gonna leave this because it's so funny. Again, she was so instrumental in me being raised up in ministry and pushing and prime. And I used to talk about it to her. So about 15 years ago, I started coming. I'm like, God is going to do this, and she's like, nah, that's for y'all. Y'all just, and lo and behold, everything that she did for me over the last probably 7 years, I've had to flip it and do it. And that's what I think is just so awesome, is to see, like you said, iron sharpens iron. You pushed me into this thing. You celebrated me. You encouraged me. I remember, the church that you were in when I would come and speak. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I gotta go. I really gotta go. We know when we miss it sometimes. And there was times when I felt like I didn't give it my best. I'm like, oh man, that wasn't my best right there. But yet I got nothing but encouragement from you, and it can encourage me to know that the next time, because you put a deposit on me. You put a mandate on me. I mean, that's one thing you did. You put the standard high. And Brother Steve, this is where I need to see you at. I don't need to see you down here. You up here, and that was the encouragement to keep on striving to be better. And even to this day, I'm striving to be better because of people like you in my life. You don't let me settle. You don't let me get comfortable. You always are pushing that button to say, man, get better, do it differently, do better, do better. So thank you so much, Elder Denise, for being a part of it. Thank you, everyone that has joined tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got something out of the show tonight. We just wanted to do some talking, just some sharing. Thank you, family. Thank you, friends. Thank you so very much. This is rich, and this is what's lacking sometimes in relationships. And that's what we were talking about. A friend loves in every kind of weather, through all kinds of adversity. There is nothing that you can do to stop me from loving you. I want you to know that. Yes. We are just locked in this thing together called life for life. And again, she stated it. We've been through we've cried together. We've laughed together. Yes. Man, we could be on the phone right now and we started talking, and next thing we know, we're both crying like big old babies. But it's just the love of God in us and the love for one another. So thank you. Please tell my brother I said hello, and we will catch up again real soon. Listen, everyone, thank you again. This has been rich. I appreciate you giving up your time on tonight. This is Pastor Steve. Until next time, peace. I'm out of here. Love you guys.
God bless.
Always keep God first.